Is there any difference? Yes, there is. So what I'm going to chat to you guys about now is there a difference in the types of seizures? And yes, there is. So I basically have the tonic-clonic type, which is the general type. And there's, if you break it down into two parts, first of all, there's partial and then there's general. And if we go and look into the partial type of seizures, you have the partial, you have then simple and you have complex. And the partial seizures start in one part of the brain, and with the electrical disturbances in the brain that cause the seizures, they can then move to another part of the brain. So yeah, and if you have a simple partial seizure, you don't lose consciousness. If you have a complex partial seizure, you do lose consciousness. Hopefully that's made it a bit clearer for you. How would you recognise a partial seizure? A simple partial seizure. Ugh, it's a mouthful. A simple partial seizure or a complex partial seizure? Well, they are recognised by someone, like a part of their body twitching, maybe like their face is twitching, or their arm is twitching, or their leg is twitching, or maybe their speech is slurred or unclear or just unusual if you're talking to them. Their vision may be affected as well, so maybe they might be, I don't know, walking into things perhaps. It really just depends on where the abnormal, like, electrical activity in the brain is taking place. I've heard as well that when people have these types of seizures, often they've been confused as being drunk. Like, people think that they're drunk, but they're not, because I guess they might be stumbling around because they can't see where they're going too well, and maybe they are speaking in a way that sounds like they're drunk. So yeah, that's the partial seizures side of things. So you've got the simple and the complex. Simple, you lose consciousness. No, sorry, I've got that modelled up. See, I'm like learning all this as well. Simple, you don't lose consciousness. Complex, you do. Okay, and then general seizures, you've got 3 different types, and the electrical disturbances tend to do happen all over the brain at the same time. You've got absent seizures. Oh, you've got tonic-clonic, which is the ones that I have, and you've got myoclonic seizures. Absent seizures are basically how they sound. So someone will just be looking like they're daydreaming, and if you try to talk to them, they won't respond. And yeah, I think that's it with an absent seizure. And they don't last that long, so this is as far as I know. They go on for about 15 seconds or less. So you'll ask them a question, you'll say their name, and they just don't respond. Yeah, and then a tonic-clonic is, like I said, the one that I have, which I think most people, when they think of epilepsy, that's what they think of with the seizures, probably because of like movies and TV. Yeah, so with a tonic-clonic seizure, you might see someone's eyes roll backwards, and then the head might go as well, which is again what happens to me, and then I sort of just drop, like there's no stopping me. I just go. And so at that point, if someone can catch you, that would be great. Yeah, and then I just start shaking the whole body. And what else? Yeah, you can bite the inside of your mouth because your whole body's like just doing that, and you just, everything is jerking, literally. And you might see them like foaming at the mouth. You might see blood, I guess. It's a bit of a gross one, but yeah. it's probably the most traumatic one, I think, to see. Although I haven't seen someone have a complex partial seizure, because that could be quite traumatic too, I imagine, to see someone have. A myoclonic one is the last general seizure, and that is when someone who is usually conscious would be jerking on one side of their body. And yeah, I think that's it pretty much. I don't know a lot about the myoclonic seizures, and I think I read that they're not always epileptic as well. So yeah, and they are usually able to respond and think while they're having it. I think that's what I read too. So yeah, whereas with the tonic-clonic, you can't respond, that you're unconscious at the time. And yeah, it really wears you out having a tonic-clonic seizure, and you need a good period of time to recover from that. Yeah, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, you're seriously worn out. And yeah, that's the different types of seizures. So you've got quite a few there. You've got, I think, 5, did I say? So it's not just the falling to the ground and shaking, as people might have thought. And I apologise for this bad filming, but my camera decided that it wasn't going to charge. So hopefully next time it will. All right, bye!